What up, everybody? How's it going? YouTube Live. Let's see. Are we just trying to make sure before I speak any further? I was in the middle of editing my video reviews, but I got to stop to do this real quick because this really, I'm taken aback by it. I'm really shocked by this news. I mean, holy crap. Uh, Today's Thursday, by the way, December 9th. It feels like a Sunday, but it's Thursday. uh, it just this news just dropped like this past hour or so, and I was taken aback by it because I really like Cowboy Bebop, the live action series on Netflix. But apparently I was among the few that actually enjoyed it. Like, a lot of people hated this show, and a lot of critics hated this show, and I just don't get it. I think it's one of those I guess disconnect, if you will. Between we have different tastes in things, and this is one of those cases where not everybody share a common affinity for Cowboy Bebop live action series. But yeah, Hollywood Reporter here. Let me pull up the site. Says that Netflix has canceled Cowboy Bebop after just one season. Holy crap! And it premiered like last month. Like last month. Oh my goodness. Which is kind of sad because at the end of Cowboy Bebop season one, well, the only season, they kind of teased the arrival of Eddie, and so we wanted to see, at least the rest of us who like the show, we wanted to see where that show, where that plot was gonna head, where what direction they're gonna go to in the season two. But now we'll never know. Now we'll never know. Netflix has canceled Cowboy Bebop. Um, and Hollywood Reporter is not shy in also putting their own opinion. It says here, Netflix has canceled its ambitious, widely hyped, and ultimately wildly disappointing anime adaptation, Cowboy Bebop. Wow. Really? You got to put in the wildly disappointing part? Can't you just report it, straight reporting? Yeah, it has canceled. But you know what? Let me put my editorial in it. It's wildly disappointing. But they're not incorrect in saying that, of course. The move comes less than 3 weeks after the show's November 19th debut on the streaming service. The space western had a rough reception. The 10 episode series garnered only a 46% positive critics ratings on Rotten Tomatoes. Fans seem to agree, giving the show a 56% positive audience score on the site. Uh, According to Netflix's top 10 site, the series has racked up almost 74 million viewing hours worldwide since its debut. So it got plenty of sampling out of the gate, but it plummeted 59% for the week of November 29 through December 5. Um, hey, Chad, thank you for the birthday wish. Not yet, not yet. It's on Monday, this coming Monday, December 13th, but I appreciate it. Insiders point out that Netflix renewal rate for scripted series that have two or more seasons stands at 60%, in line with industry averages. And like all Netflix renewal verdicts, the decision was made by balancing the show's viewership and cost. The streamer also prides itself on taking big swings on projects like Cowboy Bebop and has many other genre shows on the air and in the works. Um, okay, okay, so I don't know about you guys, but for much of all this time, uh, the method that Netflix goes by in determining which shows to cancel and which shows to renew, you know, eh, up until this point, it usually has been always a mystery. Like, back in the day with TV, we got this thing called Nielsen ratings, that tells you how many viewers you get. Because how many viewers you get per episode, because episode airs every week on a weekly basis. So that tells you, oh, this many people tune in, so therefore, it justifies we renewing this because the cost, it balances it out with, I mean, the viewership balances out the cost. If the viewership is low, then the executives will be like, you know what, it's not worth investing so much in this show. Nobody's watching it. With Netflix, all this time it's been like a mystery, and like, how do you do this? Like, because it's all bingeable stuff, right? You drop all 10 episodes at the same time, or all 13 episodes. Like, how do you do a Nielsen rating stop on it? So now at least we kind of know that they go by the percentages of the of they have their own metrics or method, if you will, to figure out. It says here that Cowboy Bebop racked up almost 74 million viewing hours. So they have their own method in 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 pinpointing how many viewing hours a show gets on their streaming service, and it says that it plummeted 59% the last week of November, and Cowboy Bebop premiered November 19th. So that's less than 2 weeks, and it just went downhill. Nobody's watching it anymore. So they figured out how, they figured out the viewership for their shows. Tyler's here says Netflix has to stop trying to adapt anime into live action. They have One Piece next. Yes, but you know what? I gotta say, man, I really like Cowboy Bebop. I know a lot of people didn't like it, but I thought it was so stylized. I thought it was so much fun, and of course, it's not faithful exactly 100% to the original anime, but the effort that they put into trying to be as close as possible to the anime. I thought it was a good effort overall, and I'll go on Twitter for the fans' reaction. But I liked it. I think Tessa Mama Geeks liked it. There are some other YouTubers who liked it as well. Now we're like, we were waiting to say, let's jam again for season two, but now there's not gonna be season two, and it sucks. Oh my goodness. So it all comes down to the numbers, unfortunately, right? It's just business, nothing personal. It all comes down to viewership, and I get it, but still, it just hurts. It just hurts. Look at it, look at this. Rotten Tomatoes, and they're right. If they go by Rotten Tomatoes, it's 46% critics, 54% audiences. So it's not very well received. But I looked, yeah, I briefly looked through some of the critics from the criticism from the critics, and man, they're brutal. They're brutal. While it isn't nearly as bad as Netflix Death Note adaptation, Cowboy Bebop just doesn't swing. Ouch, ouch. Oh, this one gives a good review. Jake Tropla says, as it stands, the live action version is a complete waste of time, lacking any wonder and existing as an unfitting adaptation of Watanabe's classic series. Ouch! Ouch! And let's go through some of the audiences. I think the audiences are a lot, not a lot, I'd say a bit more merciful, if you will, but still, 54%, it's not good. Um, They took source material, the original anime, which was absolutely perfect, and made a shallow, uninteresting, and mundane live action version. This did not translate well, couldn't even finish it. Why does Netflix keep doing these poor anime live action adaptations? Watch the anime if you haven't already, it is incredible. I agree, the anime was incredible. I like the anime, and it's also available on Netflix. But I also like the live action version. uh, Chat, I haven't seen the anime in years. Oh, it's on Netflix, brother. It's available on Netflix as well. Um, JP says bad casting, not true enough to everything that made the original great. So that's the thing. I think much of the criticism from the audience's perspective, it's the comparison to the anime. That's what they go by. Whereas the criticism from the critics, mostly more specific, more substantive, more on um, the style, the tone, and whatnot. Whereas the fans is like, oh, because there's this thing that they can compare it to, like, oh, this is not as good. It's not as So that's usually what they go by when they're hating on the live action version. Um, Man, this really bums me out. And I think one of the Twitter people says, and they brought up a good point, like, oh man, this sucks because this is John Cho's, the actor John Cho's, the beyond Star Trek franchise, this is his leading moment. You know what I'm saying? This is supposed to be his other franchise, um, as Spike Spiegel, but because in Star Trek franchise, he's under the shadow of Chris Pine and Simon Pegg and Carl Urban. You know what I'm saying? He's like the fifth or sixth lead. You know what I'm saying? So this is supposed to be the it for John Cho, and I'm so sad that this is not happening for him. Ultimately, and that just and he's a good actor. You know what I'm saying? He really could use the break. This is supposed to be his moment to shine. Oh man, this bums me out. See what else is. So a lot of fans says I'm not even slightly surprised. Having watched a bit of it, it's not a surprise. Um, Michael David Parent says me too, which is why I give it a thumbs up. Okay, JDM says too bad I enjoyed it. Michael David Parent replied me too, which is why I give it a thumbs up. The series had tons of potential. This is one of those rare times where I like something that the majority doesn't. Bummer. And to piggyback off that, it is a shame because if you recall, there's a lot of shows where season one were rough for them. It was like a rough start. One example I can give you is Schitt's Creek. Remember Schitt's Creek, the big phenomenon comedy? I remember like season one or two, it was it was rough, and they were like on this some network that nobody watches, and trying to get viewership. They do have the stuff. Their comedy was good, but it was a rough start to get viewership and to get people to like the show. Um, and I remember at one point, Dan Levy, one of the stars of Schitt's Creek, um, I think it's his Emmy acceptance speech or maybe his Golden Globe, whatever award it was. In his acceptance speech, he said that thank you. He said thank you to the network, to the Canadian network and the Pop TV network, whatever it was. It's like thank you for allowing us to go past, beyond first season or second season. Thank you for not giving up on us. That's what he said on his acceptance speech. Thank you for letting us to keep molding. It sounds like from his acceptance speech, it sounds like those networks were about to at one point were about to like say, you know what, this is not worth it. We might cancel Schitt's Creek. And it sounds like Dan Levy fought for it. And so what I'm getting at is like, to give up on such a show on just like because of the first season had a rough start. It's not fair. You know what I'm saying? So what if it's not 100% faithful to the original anime? A lot of fans also like their criticism is not even warranted because they think that Faye Valentine is not sexy enough. It's not, the outfit is not as skimpy as the Faye Valentine on the anime. So some of these things are like, yeah, come on, you gotta give it a chance. Otherwise, how would you know whether or not it's gonna grow if you're just gonna like axe it? It's like, oh, it's not working, guys. After just one season, that's it, done, donezo. Like, could you imagine if that happened to Schitt's Creek? We would not have had, the legend that is Schitt's Creek today. It's just like so I don't know. I think that's just it just really bums me out. And on top of that, John Cho is a fantastic actor, and I feel bad for him because I thought this was gonna be you know, his thing, beyond Star Trek or whatever, that this is his deal. And unfortunately, it's not happening for him. So I read somewhere that he has signed on to star on another project, on another show. Um, Hollywood Purgatory, the dialogue was terrible. Okay, well, you're entitled to your opinion, Hollywood. Um, this isn't Shit's Creek. Yeah, but you know what I'm getting at, right? I'm not saying that Cowboy Bebop is Shit's Creek, but what I'm getting at is like the fact that the networks almost gave up on Shit's Creek, and it's like, so I'm glad they didn't. And Chat M says, I know that feeling with Beware the Batman. Great show canceled after one season. Yeah, it just it just sometimes you gotta let the show some more time to grow, to form, to mold itself. If you just if you don't give that chance, if you don't give that show a chance, how will you know if it's gonna be good or bad down the road? If you just approach it on a short-term mindset. Unfortunately, that's how networks usually think, on short-term mindset. Like, oh, how does this do after just few episodes, or how does this do after just first season? Unfortunately, that's how the mentality is in this business. So, it's just like I said earlier, it's nothing personal. It comes down to business. It comes down to the numbers, and this is how it works. Unfortunately. So, yeah. I'm gonna get back to editing my video review, but this is so disappointing. I'm so bummed out about this news, and God, it was like Eddie showed up at the last episode. It's like, oh, you're almost there. You're almost there. But now we'll never see that. We'll never know how that will play out ever. So let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. And tonight, midnight, I'll be posting my review of The Witcher Season 2. The Witcher Season 2 review coming out tonight, midnight. Also, the review of this other Netflix show as well. So check it out. And yeah, please subscribe, 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 subscribe. Let's rock this.